Welcome in to News and Views with Tom Lamprecht. The stories you've heard and the ones you need to hear.
We're in continuous contact with American citizens who remain in Afghanistan.
Such a humiliating fiasco.
We just need help with the lights. That's it.
We're barely surviving through this heat.
This bill to a $3.5 trillion tax and spend bonanza. It would wreck our economy. It would increase inflation.
Your life, your values, your voice. This is News and Views with Tom Lamprecht on Talk 96.3 and 103.7.
All right, welcome in. It's a new week. Not a brand new week. It's Tuesday.
Kind of a
new week for us, right?
Kind of a little week, right?
Yeah. Hope you had a good Labor Day weekend. Football was all over the place, quite exciting. Some good games. East Carolina struggled, obviously. The Virginia Tech North Carolina game was Virginia Tech won, but for you Tar Heel fans, it was a. I mean, now if you talk to a Tar Heel fan, they thought it was terrible, but looking at the game was. I mean, if you were a neutral observer, it was a competitive game, but they were packed in there like sardines.
Yeah. Virginia Tech, I forget what their stadium size is, but I've been, I don't know, half a dozen games at Virginia Tech at least. And let's just say you don't have any extra room. Whatever they say it sits, they should probably sit about 10,000 less.
Well, have you ever been to a basketball game at Cameron?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That holds, what, about 7,700? And it probably actually holds about 5,000.
Yeah, it's
they give you a 2x4 to sit on.
You get nice and cozy with your neighbor, that's for sure.
Anyway, I mean, when I was watching some of those games over the weekend, I thought the Anthony Fauci's of the world have got to be going crazy. And sure enough, he came out and talked about how this is bad. He came out and said it was. Just very concerning, the lack of social distancing and mask wearing at the stadiums around the country.
We cannot have football until I say so.
Yeah, really?
Something like that.
So he joined CNN's New Day this morning, one of their liberal broadcasts. Well, they're all liberal, right? He said, I don't think it's smart for stadiums to be packed with fans. We could be stuck in an outbreak mode, and that's why I think you're going to be seeing a lot more local mandates, he said. There's going to be organizations, there's going to be universities, there's going to be colleges, there's going to be sports events, travel events, where the rule is going to be if you want to participate, you get vaccinated. Fauci added, if not, sorry, you're not going to be able to do it. And I think when we get more and more of that, I think we're going to start seeing a great reduction in the number of cases. Yeah, this guy is playing both sides. He's really hedging his bets. On one hand, he's saying, "Oh, look at all the stadiums filled with people. That's going to make it worse. But we'll have local mandates come down from the authoritarians, and that'll make it better." So, what is it, Anthony? Is it going to be worse or better?
But by his admission, only recently, when the science, had been there for months, vaccinated people can spread the virus.
Bingo!
It just keeps, hopefully, people from dying.
Exactly.
I don't think it slows it up necessarily at all, but
no, personally, I mean, I'm not a doctor. Everybody knows that. Okay, but personally, I think you're going to see more and more A, vaccinations, and B, natural immunities. And I actually think, okay, you might see a little pop from some of these games. But I think over the next 30 to 90 days, I think you are going to see a reduction, but not because of local authoritarian mandates, but because of natural immunities taking place. And here's the other thing, too. It was very telling over the weekend that these stadiums were packed. And if you watched any of the games, you might have, if there might have been a close-up or two of an individual with a mask on, but it wasn't even 1% of the people that were watching these, they were attending these games that were wearing masks. You look at that and say to yourself, are the people, have they had it? Are they saying, Anthony, enough is enough?
Yeah, I definitely think so. But also, I'm not an anti-vaxxer. Full disclosure, I've had the virus and I've had the vaccine. But the whole mask ridiculousness, and that's exactly what it is. I mean, the studies are crystal clear that masks do not prove to do anything.
Bingo.
But if they were so important, just like last year when the pandemic was in a, well, probably now it's not as high as it is now, but it was still at the height of the pandemic last football season. This ridiculous mess where you had NCAA football players out there on the football field, and they're all on top of each other. You know, offensive, defensive linemen.
Exactly.
I mean, you're literally you're trading sweat and spit in a normal game. I mean, that's just the facts. But then they go to the sideline and they got to put on a mask.
Yeah.
That is beyond insane.
Symbolism without substance.
Yeah.
So I really do think, though, that people are suddenly realizing that they've maybe been fed some lines that aren't exactly like they were fed. This really is, I think, with the authoritarians overplaying some of the things that they have done and said, it resembles the little boy that cried wolf. Now, COVID is real. COVID is dangerous. And we've all known people that have gotten very, very sick, and we've known some that have died. So it's real. But you know what? The wolf was real too. And quite frankly, you know, some of these things that are coming out concerning, if COVID was that bad, which, well, it is that bad, but why do people say, go wear a mask and you'll be fine? Because it's not. I mean, you're really, it's like telling someone well, there's some examples I can think of that spread things I won't going to use, but
I mean,
truly, it's the little boy that cried wolf.
I mean, every time I wear a mask, and I wear a mask when when I think it's maybe just, I don't know, I really do it for other germs more than I do anything else. Most of the time, I do it out of compliance, but I'm constantly having to remove my glasses, and because they fog up. If my glasses are constantly fogging up, I don't think the mask is really. I mean, it might help you if you're systematic and you're sneezing and coughing like crazy, and you should be home even if it was just a normal cold and flu type situation.
Well, I have said before, I will wear a mask if I go into a private business and they say if you want to come in, you've got to wear a mask. I'll put a mask on, not because I believe in masks, but okay, I want to go to this private business. Look, if they. You have businesses that say, no shirt, no shoes, no service. Okay, that's fine. If they say no mask, no service, okay, I'll put a mask on. I usually have a shirt and shoes on, by the way.
Yeah, I don't mind people wearing a mask, and just in general, because a lot of people, they don't brush their teeth enough. But that's another topic.
Speaking of Rand Paul is part of the next story. Speaking of Anthony Fauci.
You don't get those confused.
Well, it's really interesting. The Intercept has come out with a story today, which a number of other publications have picked up and run with. And what's interesting is the Washington Post had a story that sort of confirms what the Intercept had. But the Intercept, through the Freedom of Information Act, they put a request in, and they have obtained a number of emails that makes it pretty clear that when Anthony Fauci and Rand Paul were getting into it on whether or not the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases funded the Wuhan labs, and Anthony Fauci said, you don't know what you're talking about. No, we're not doing it. And then when Rand Paul came back and said, do you want to recant that? No, I'm not going to recant that. Well, there have been a bunch of emails that have come out now through the Freedom of Information Act that the Intercept has requested and now gotten a hold on that reveals that the U.S. government pumped $3.1 million into American health organization EcoHealth Alliance to back bat coronavirus research at the Wuhan Institute of Virology. Now, this is not new news, but it has now been verified through emails that originated from Anthony Fauci. So it's really going to be interesting how this comes out at the end. The documents make it clear that assertions by the NIH director Francis Collins and the NIAID director Anthony Fauci that the NIH did not support gain-of-function research or potential pandemic enhancement at the Wuhan Institute are untruthful. Rutgers University chemical biology professor Richard Ebright wrote in a Tuesday Twitter, the documents make it clear that assertions by the NIH director Francis Collins and the NIAID director Anthony Fauci that they did not support gain of function is untruthful. The materials further reveal that the grants also supported the construction in Wuhan of the novel Cometric MERS-related coronavirus that combines spike genes from one MERS-related coronavirus with genetic information from another MERS-related coronavirus. Now, you remember Anthony Fauci and Rand Paul got into it big time a couple of months ago. The Republican from Kentucky accused Fauci of lying about gain of function. I've never lied before to Congress. I do not retract that statement, Fauci said. He added that the research Paul referenced was, quote, judged by qualified staff up and down the chain and as not being gain of function. That's the other thing that has come out is it's pretty evident. And again, the Washington Post is reporting on this as well. But it's pretty evident that Fauci makes up his own rules. He gets his own people to make up his own rules and create their own definitions of what's up and what's down.
Well, he has been so inconsistent for the last year and a half and completely contradictory of what earlier statements he's made when he makes emphatic statements about something. It's hard to remember when you don't tell the truth.
Yeah, exactly.
And
if you tell the truth, you don't have to remember any extras.
And sooner or later, going on MSNBC and CNN where you got, a panel of
fanny kissers.
Yeah, clapping seals is what I call them. Whatever they say, they're going to just clap. I mean, you can't go to jail for what you say on there, but you darn sure can go to jail for lying to Congress.
Yeah. Well, remember, Paul came out and said, are you sure you don't want to retract that? And he even said, it's an offense. It's a criminal offense to be lying to Congress. Are you sure you don't want to retract that? And he said no.
You mentioned the Washington Post article. Is Washington Post signaling to all the mainstream media and liberal media? I mean, I've recently seen some Washington Post articles, some Politico articles that, typically, well, certainly Washington Post is left-leaning. Politico certainly is not right-leaning.
No, middle of the road at best.
At best. Are they fine? Is the Washington Post signaling to everyone, okay, it's time to start doing some honest reporting? Because, there's been not only on the coronavirus, but on some Afghan issues. Maybe finally the mainstream media, says, hey, we just can't be all about talking bad about Donald Trump. We gotta at least resemble journalists somewhat.
To answer your question, I think yes, perhaps they are doing true journalism, but I don't think it's because of some love fest with Donald Trump. I think it's because they realize that our credibility is so tarnished that we better get a couple things right, or we're going to be totally out of business. I mean, they probably see. The Washington Times is not as in rough shape as the New York Times, so the Washington Post is not as rough shape as the New York Times. But the bottom line is, if they don't begin to get their mess together, they are going to be out of business. I mean, the credibility is the honest person out there. There's still a few lemmings that will believe anything that they say, but the majority of people are seeing the truth. There's enough other places you can go to find out what's going on. And, you can say all you want that Joe Biden's the emperor, but he has no clothes. And the Washington Post and the New York Times better start talking about the fact that he's out there stark naked.
Yeah, and he doesn't realize if he's stark naked or not. I mean,
that's the truth.
He's pretty bad shape. It's really sad.
He is rough. But anyway, getting back to this Anthony Fauci, I mean, Jim Jordan came out and said Fauci is hiding something and should face an investigation. Ronnie Jackson, who's been on this program before, out of Texas, new congressman out of Texas, used to be the Donald Trump doctor, demanded answers. And for Fauci to be terminated from his role as top health advisor to the president, Ronnie Jackson also said, this is the problem. These people get in there for life. And they get so much power and they can control so much money and you can't get rid of them. I mean, just as you talk about term limits for our elected officials, we need term limits for some of these bureaucrats.
Yeah, Fauci's been there 45 years or some crazy number.
Well, the guy's like 80-something years old. Josh Hawley had the harshest criticism, demanding that Fauci resign immediately. Anthony Fauci has repeatedly and deliberately misled Congress and the American people. Resign and face a congressional inquiry. And listen, come 2022, the Republicans, you better not forget what you're saying now. Don't let it be bygones when 2022 comes around. Well, I just forget it. He's gone now anyway.
And if the Republicans take back the House,
which they should,
if they don't open up some investigations on the origins of this, which is clearly China, I think now is clearly intentional, then I don't think the American voter outside of the people that voted for Joe Biden will ever trust the Republican Party again.
Well, Ronnie Jackson came out and basically said that the only thing that you could possibly want to do with this is chemical warfare. That's the only thing and why are we funding chemical warfare through our enemies? We'll be right back.
And we're on location at one of my favorite places in the whole planet because this is some of the best food you're ever going to eat in your life. We are at Nino's on Red Banks Road in Greenville. It's one of my hangouts. It's one of the places that I love. I got my friend Pietro Pasalacqua. How'd I do?
You did great.
Let's talk about the food. What makes this place? I know it's special Italian from authentic Italians, but tell us why it's so special.
Because everything we do, it's really what we came up on the menu from what we did at home, from my grandparents, my parents. So it's exactly what we eat at home, and that's the way we cook. That's why it's special.
And the atmosphere in this place is special also. From the bar to the two dining areas. You got two different dining areas, and now the weather's nice, so there's going to be a lot of folks that want to eat outside.
Yeah, we have two rooms. One room is designed a little different. We're also working on the patio to make it more attractive and more useful in the summer with a cocktail service. And we're always improving our services.
And, of course, my friends here, my buddy, Chef Massimo, who I love, and Sal and Pietro, you guys do a great job here. Not just Italian, but I had a great pork chop here the other night. You got great steaks, too.
Yes, we're also adding filet mignon in the future on our menu. And Massimo is coming out with a really good side dishes for it. And so we're really excited to come out with new meats and fish dishes.
All right, Nino's on Red Banks Road in Greenville. Same people that give you Marabello's and the great pizza that you get at Marabello's, but this is fine dining at Nino's. If you haven't been here, you don't know what you're missing. Come see them at Nino's on Red Banks Road. And Pietro, what is that famous saying about Nino's?
The food that you enjoy with people that you love.
Top Dog Academy is Eastern North Carolina's complete dog training facility. Top Dog provides an excellent environment for dogs of all ages with training services and work week daycare. Top Dog is located on Highway 43 South, just 4 miles from Bells Fork, and features a comfortable, healthy environment and a spacious facility for daycare and a brand new, beautiful facility for training. Call 752-8215 or visit TopDogOnline.com.
Come on out Highway 43 South to Top Dog Academy, where we know dogs.
Living easy is the sound of children laughing as you make memories with neighbors and friends. It's the sound of nothing at all. It's the smell of the salt air. Hear the waters against the marsh grass. See the beauty of our coast. Bow Coast, located in Beaufort, North Carolina. Southern living's best small town.
This is your Drive at 5 and ENC with Tom Lamprecht. Welcome back to News and Views on Talk 96.3 and 103.7.
Welcome back in. Tom, Benny, and Clark. Today is National Beer Lovers Day, September 7th. It's also National Salami Day. Beer and salami, I guess some people like those together.
National Beer Lovers Day. So does that mean you're supposed to love beer or love someone who loves beer?
Well, you can do both. Go for it. For those East Carolina Pirate Nation folks, 12 days until International Talk Like a Pirate Day. 12 days from today, in case you were wondering. Arg. Take a look at your weather forecast tonight. Mostly cloudy, low around 71. Tomorrow afternoon, a chance of showers and thunderstorms. Chance of rain, 50%. Highs tomorrow near 88. Tomorrow night, a chance of showers and thunderstorms, a low around 73. Chance of rain tomorrow night, 30%. Thursday, a chance of showers and thunderstorms, again, about 50% chance. And again, your high on Thursday, not quite as warm, about a high of 83. I am enjoying the cooler weather, I must say.
Oh, Friday night and Saturday night was like
gorgeous.
Saturday morning, I think it was 55 when I woke up.
I loved it. No humidity.
I just want to go out in the yard like a dog and just roll around.
I have to admit, I didn't have that desire. But
I'm just sick of hot, humid weather. Sorry.
Well, I hate to see the summer days, long days end, but I do like the cooler, less humid weather. Weather brought to you by Ironwood, voted best golf course in Greenville 2 years in a row. Ironwood Golf and Country Club boasts an 18-hole Lee Trevino design course, full-service dining, and outdoor pool, tennis, and more. Our newly renovated 15,000-square-foot clubhouse is a perfect place to make new traditions with your family. For a limited time, join Ironwood, pay zero initiation fees. Give them a call, 252-752-4653. Find out what makes us the best. Give them a call. Ask for Jenna. Go on out and see her. She'll give you a free tour of the course and the clubhouse. She'll drive you around one of the golf courts. It's fun just to go out and see it. Be a part of the best. Ironwood Golf and Country Club. Again, that number is 752-4653. So the State Department is refusing to grant official approval for private evacuations flight from Afghanistan to land in third countries, even though the department conceded that official authorization would likely be needed for planes to land in those nations, this according to Fox News. Furthermore, the State Department explicitly stated that charter flights, even among those containing American citizens, would not be allowed to land at Defense Department air bases. So you got this one cut ready, Clark. It is with Mike McCall. Is that ready to go? Cut one? Okay. This is Mike McCall on Fox News Sunday a couple of days ago talking about this very thing.
Since we left the country on Friday, how many Americans have gotten out of Afghanistan since we pulled out?
I understand, zero. And in fact, we have 6 airplanes at Mazar Sharif Airport, 6 airplanes with American citizens on them as I speak, also with these interpreters, and the Taliban is holding them hostage for demands right now. The state has cleared these flights, and the Taliban will not let them leave the airport. So I'm sorry, the answer to your question is zero. And that's my concern, is they're going to demand more and more, whether it be cash or legitimacy, as the government of Afghanistan.
What demands are the Taliban making?
They are not clearing the airplanes to depart. They've sat at the airport for the last couple of days, these planes, and they're not allowed to leave. We know the reason why is because the Taliban wants something in exchange. This is really, Chris, turning into a hostage situation where they're not going to allow American citizens to leave until they get full recognition from the United States of America. My concern is that Zal Khalilzad, our special envoy, who's met with the Taliban, they're in talks right now, and I think I worry his recommendation to the administration will be to recognize the Taliban as the official government of the United States, a Taliban organization that is a terrorist organization.
Now listen, the Biden administration, I'm predicting, will grant the Taliban legitimacy, recognize them as the official government of Afghanistan. This is what Obama has wanted since he got in there. I mean, I said this throughout the Obama years, and I continue to say it. Every time President Biden, there you go again.
You got it right.
Every time President Obama did something that was, okay, is this going to help America or help the jihadists? He always helped the jihadists. Mm-hmm. This is exactly what Obama wants. Biden and Obama. Now, again, Mike McCall is saying it's the Taliban, but a number of these organizations, including Glenn Beck's organization, the Nazarene Project, I think he calls it.
Yeah, Nazarene Fund or something.
They're saying the problem is the State Department. And for the State Department to come out, I mean, would you not think, these are American citizens, would you not think that they would come out and say, if you can take off, land at any American military base anywhere in the world, we welcome you? Would that not be what you would say?
You would think so. I mean, as hastily as the people they did evacuate out was done. I mean, it's got to be easier. No more people in there now. It's got to be easier once they get to the base to vet them there than it is to just leave them there.
At least you have a controlled environment.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but I pray to God it does not happen. But I am afraid we're going to see a complete bloodshed. They're going to basically hold these people ransom before it's over with.
Well, Lindsey Graham was doing an interview, which was released today. I guess he did it yesterday, released today, with the BBC. This is cut 2. Now, you talk about bloodshed. I hope and pray. Literally, my wife and I are praying daily for the people of Afghanistan and the Americans in Afghanistan and, quite frankly, the Christians in Afghanistan, because those are the 3 categories that are going to be targeted. Lindsey Graham said this to the BBC about what the future will hold with Americans, the Taliban, and Afghanistan.
They're going to give safe haven to al-Qaeda, who has ambitions to drive us out of the Mideast writ large and attack us because of our way of life. We will be going back into Afghanistan as we went back into Iraq and Syria.
Hang on, are you seriously think the United States will once again, in a foreseeable future, put troops back into Afghanistan?
We'll have to, because the threat will be so large. Why did we go back to Syria and Iraq? Why do we have 5,000 troops in Iraq today? Because of the caliphate rising, projecting force outside of Iraq, killing Americans, killing the French, attacking the British. So yes, it will be a cauldron for radical Islamic behavior. You cannot deal with this over the horizon. Here's my solution. Help the resistance in the Panjshir Valley. The Taliban will not be able to govern Afghanistan. They're hated by the Afghan people. What's going to happen over time is you're going to see the resistance rise. ISIS will come after the Taliban large, and the entire country is going to fracture in the next year, creating a perfect storm for Western interests to be attacked. You can do one of 2 things. You can say, that's no longer my problem, let it build and get hit, or hit them before they hit you.
That is in one sense a scary thought, but it's just this whole collapse is just a scary thought. It's a scary thought of who we got in the White House. It's a scary thought of the progressives that are running the State Department. Everything about it is a scary thought. You got to remind yourself that God is sovereign and He rules over the affairs of men. But unfortunately, there's a lot of evil in this world as well.
Well, not that I put much stock in anything comes out of the United Nations, but there is no accident that China and Russia did not sign off on the diplomatic restrictions that the UN just passed, 10 days or so ago. This area of Afghanistan, it's just ripe for the taking, and it's ripe for China and Iran and Russia together to just entirely take over that whole region, which has...
I'd be surprised if Russia went back in. They've been there once, and they did not have a good time.
I don't think it's in their interest militarily, but it's in their interest for oil reserves in the whole region.
They'll go in and make a deal with the Taliban and say, you let us in, we'll funnel you the money that comes out of the ground. We'll take our percentage, you'll get your percentage, and it would be something along those lines. Grandpa from the Munsters, also known as Chuck Schumer, came out over the weekend and claimed that all Americans were safely out. If they want, and this is what we said a couple of weeks ago, if they wanted to get out, they got out.
They had 19 days, as he yelled at the camera when he did his presentation or whatever he said last. I think it was 19 days. He said, essentially last week he was acting like, hey, it's your fault if you're left there.
No. And that's what we said. When they came out that first day and said, anybody that wants to get out, that was their get out of jail free card.
Yep.
They didn't want to. It is sick. And by the way, the State Department, while they are blocking individuals from getting out, if there's a situation where individuals actually do get out, they'll come and take some bows for it. There was a family, 4 Americans, a mom and her 3 children. They escaped from Afghanistan yesterday. traveling overland across the border into a neighboring country. Now, there's limited information about how it happened and where it happened because, quite frankly, there might be other people that need to try and get out, and who knows who's listening to these stories. The State Department, while they're saying no, you can't come into, we're not going to let the planes leave, they claim to have facilitated the family's evacuation. The actual organizers behind the rescue mission said that the State Department was, quote, exaggerating its involvement and deserves little or no credit for the rescue. But they're taking the bows. Unbelievable. 5618255. Let's go down to Havelock. We got Ron on the line. Hey, Ron.
Hey, Ron.
Good afternoon, sir. Yeah, I heard you play that clip there about the Taliban holding those planes hostage. Glenn Beck addressed that on the show this morning because 4 of those aircraft are from the Nazarene Fund.
Right.
They were held there because of the State Department would not authorize landing right. And there were senators and Congress people involved over the weekend trying to get the State Department to authorize landing rights. All those people were either American citizen, green card holders, or they had the proper documentation issued by the State Department. And, the manifests were cleared and everything. They had permission to take off and everything. The Taliban weren't holding them. And, you can verify that, by, calling these, like say, Senator Marsha Blackburn, I remember her name of Tennessee. She was participating and has been actually for a couple of weeks now.
Good stuff. Thanks, Ron. Appreciate the info. If you want to join us, 5618255. We got to take another time out. Stay with us. More news and views coming up.
Break the chain. Eat local. Tiebreakers.
Hey, this is Hank Hinton back here at Full Service Flooring in Winterville. I'm here today with Corey Little, who's the operations manager here at Full Service Flooring. Corey's been here 6 months, but you've been in construction a long time. Tell us about what you do here at Full Service Flooring.
Yeah, I got over here about 6 months ago. I've been in construction for, like I said, a little over 20 years, and I've known Tim for a long time now, and he's brought me over here to see what new kind of things I can bring to the store and to our customers. And I'm in charge of scheduling, and I don't know what else. I'm in charge of everything. It seems like we work together as a team and try to pull it all together. I might do a measure one day and do a commercial floor the next day, but we just kind of all work together and pull it all together at one time.
So what's new in flooring? What is the hot new thing?
The hot new thing is LVP or LVT, depending on what you're looking for, which look you're looking for. It's a waterproof product. It's absolutely fantastic. You can't really beat it.
A lot cheaper than hardwoods?
It is definitely a cost-effective alternative to hardwoods, yes, sir.
So, Corey, how is business right now?
And business is good. Despite the pandemic, we're still seeing a lot of new customers in the store, and we get an opportunity to introduce our products in a lot of different situations right now.
Corey, you've got a lot of experience in the construction industry. How is that helping you here with people, helping people with flooring here at Full Service Flooring?
Sure. I try to take the experiences that I've gained over my time in construction to help apply that to the flooring, whether it be with what the structure is made out of, the subfloor that we're going over top of, or maybe even just how it coordinates with your kitchen cabinets in construction or in your bathroom and how the tub and everything all ties together.
And a customer can just come here and see you anytime?
Absolutely. We're here 6 days a week, and we just love to see a new customer in here anytime. They can always call us and schedule something with us so we can make sure we have our time allotted for them.
Corey, thank you so much. That's Corey Little here at Full Service Flooring. Come see these guys. They're on Tilco Drive in Winterville, 756-9308 and fullserviceflooring.com.
Back to news and views. Talk 96.3 and 103.7.
Welcome back in. You were asking earlier about, publications like the Washington Post and the New York Times change their ways. I don't think so. I mean, at the heart of the matter, they're going to be liberal, true blue liberals. An example, the New York Times came out with a story after Joe Biden met with the Gold Star families at Dover Air Force Base. And we talked about this last week, the number of stories where families were just basically telling President Biden to shut up. We don't want to hear about the fact that you're still grieving over your son, Beau. And again, we feel bad that President Biden lost his son, Beau, but when you are trying to talk to someone else that's grieving, you don't make yourself the center of the attention. And quite frankly, none of the Gold Star families wanted to hear about Beau. The New York Times originally came out with a headline, Biden still grieving his son, finds that not everyone wants to hear about it. Apparently they got so much pushback from the White House and the Biden administration, they changed the headlines to, in invoking Beau, Biden broaches a loss that's guided his presidency.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you heard this morning, one of the Marines' father was on one of the news programs. His son was not killed, but he was injured. I don't know if you heard it. I forget what show it was on. But, I mean, he was pretty much like, told his daughter to go down and say, tell the president not to bring his, to see me. I mean, he was not happy.
His derriere.
Yeah.
Biden today went to survey the damage done by the remnants of Hurricane Ida up in New Jersey and New York. And, of course, any good progressive can never allow something like that to go by without bringing up global warming, which, of course, they did. Joe Biden, he's not talking about ice cream, he really doesn't need to be talking. And really. So he decides that he is going to now share with us the nomenclature about severe weather. Here was Joe from earlier today.
Looks like a tornado, they don't call them that anymore, that hit the crops and wetlands in the middle of the country, and Iowa and Nevada, and I mean, it's just across the board. And, as I said, we're in this together.
Wetlands in Iowa and Nevada.
Ask the people of Oklahoma, Texas, and Iowa, and
what do they call them?
Kansas.
I think they still call them tornadoes.
Yeah, I think they call it tornado season, Joe.
Janice Dean said, yes, we still call them tornadoes.
Evacuation is another word he needs to leave alone. He butchers that one up pretty bad. I don't know if you heard that last week. Evacuation or something, I think he said.
Somebody else tweeted, I've lived in Nevada for 32 years. I just became aware that we are A, in the middle of the country, B, have crops and wetlands, and C, have tornadoes that wipe those out. In Indiana, we still call them tornadoes, one individual said. Did I miss something? What do they call them now? Twisters, vortexes, wind tubes?
The thing.
The thing, yeah, the thing. There's Joe sharing with us his brilliance. I tell you, let's go ahead and take our other time out because I want to get the story out of the News and Observer. I want to spend a couple of minutes on, and we got to take a break here in a minute. We'll get our last break out of the way and give us a good 10-minute segment to talk. We'll be right back.
Got a trade? Now's the time at Greenville Toyota. Never in history has your trade been worth more. Get paid today. Then get a new Toyota hot off the delivery truck. Hurry before they're gone. Like Camry's $199 a month. Rush to Greenville Toyota.
Air Service is back at Pitt Greenville Airport, offering safe, clean facilities and flights from American Airlines. That means the short commute, quicker lines, and better prices that get you where you're going fast and easy. See it for yourself. There's great things inside at Pitt Greenville Airport.
Sawyer's Fun Park in Winterville is now open. With over 40,000 square feet of family fun, daily money-saving deals, and a full-service restaurant, Sawyer's Fun Park is guaranteed to have something the whole family will love. Test your ninja skills on our 2-story obstacle course or head over to one of our 5 rock walls and race your friends to the top. And when you've worked up an appetite in our laser tag arena or our one-of-a-kind ropes course, grab a table over at the restaurant and try our world-famous Southern Monster Fries. Reserve your spot today at SawyersFunPark.com and come join in on the fun.
My name is Dr. Neeti Armistead, Chief Medical Officer for Vidant Health. The following simple steps will help keep you and your community safe. Stay home as much as possible, wear a mask when out in public, avoid large gatherings, practice social distancing, and wash hands often. It's also important not to delay needed care. Vidant has taken important steps to provide you and your family with a safe environment. Learn more about COVID-19 and Vidant's response. Call 252-847-8000 or visit vidanthealth.com/COVID-19.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
Air Service is back at Pitt Greenville Airport, offering safe, clean facilities and flights from American Airlines. That means the short commute, quicker lines, and better prices that get you where you're going fast and easy. See it for yourself. There's great things inside at Pitt Greenville Airport.
Toyota shoppers, now's the time at Greenville Toyota. Shipments of factory fresh Toyotas are arriving daily and being sold almost immediately. Like Corollas for $189 a month. Get yours before they're gone. Now's the time. Rush to Greenville Toyota.
Ride and shotgun with your 5 o'clock drive.
Well, the drive home should be a delight.
This is Tom Lamprecht with more news and views on Talk 96.3 and 103.7.
Hey, I did want to mention over the weekend, the North Carolina State game, they had, I guess it was halftime, they did a tribute to the Marines that lost their lives. And the marching band got up and spelled out the word America. They pulled out the American flag and they played Amazing Grace. And it will give you goosebumps. See if you can find that, Clark, and put it on ENC News and Views. If you haven't seen it already, you need to go look at that. And my understanding is the people got up and cheered and just got into it. And a few people had a few unkind things to say about Joe, apparently. But it'll give you goosebumps. I mean, and the fact that they did it, that a state university would do something. Thank you, NC State. I hope ECU does something this weekend.
Yeah, I'm sure there was people that didn't like it in the administration. Maybe not high up, but I'm sure there was some. There's still even universities in North Carolina thinks it's okay to protest America, but not recognize and memorialize Americans that give their lives, so you can have that right to protest.
Bingo. Well said. The News and Observer's got a story out today that is a total hatchet job on private and Christian schools. Now, they can say, we're just reporting on it. Baloney. The title of the piece is, in North Carolina, sent millions to private schools with anti-LGBTQ plus policies. They go on to say in the article, 5 Mecklenburg County private schools with policies that target LGBTQ plus people received nearly $750,000 in state money during the 2020-2021 school year, the most recently available data shows. Really, what exactly did the data show? Did the data show that these private schools had policies that targeted LGBTQ plus people, that targeted them? I mean, and by the way, what they're talking about here, first of all, I mean, how many billions of dollars do we spend on education? $750,000 went to opportunity scholarships legislation. Okay, that money went to needy people that wanted to be able to send their kids somewhere other than a government school that apparently those parents didn't think were meeting their child's needs, whether it be spiritually or academically or with discipline. Who knows what the reasons were. But the bottom line is they are not policies that discriminate against LGBTQ people. And look, you could just as easily, first of all, your arguments with the scriptures, because the Christian and Catholic schools, for that matter, some of the private schools that just have standards, and I mean, you know, they go after, in this article, they go after the fact that it's discrimination because in these private schools, they don't let biological males dress up as females. Oh, that's cruel and unusual punishment. But look, they're not anti-anyone. The Christian schools and the Catholic schools are pro-biblical values. And it could just as easily be said of pro-LGBTQ people. If you're going to use their logic and their reasoning, you could just easily say, well, those people are anti-Christian. They're discriminated against anyone with biblical values. But for the News and Observer to come out, I mean, this is a long article that they just slam Christian private schools and just go on and talk about how they're anti-LGBTQ+.
I skimmed that article. I had not read it until you mentioned it to me at the break, and there's not a lick of journalism in that article. It is a slant piece that I would be willing to bet a day's pay, a week's pay, that this person that wrote this article, it was proofread by the North Carolina Association of Educators, the Democrat Party, all these liberal people that throw money at anything has to do with, you know, public for private schools. I guarantee it was proofread by them. It's nothing anti-LGBTQ in this article or in these schools, but I guarantee you in public schools, if they asked me my opinion about LGBTQ and I expressed that, you know, I just don't believe in it for religious beliefs, they would probably suspend me.
Oh, yeah,
if I was a student.
It's not probable. It's happening. There's a Christian teacher in Virginia who has been fired for refusing to refer to trans-identified students by using male pronouns, even though the student is female. Peter Vlaming, who taught French at West Point High School for 7 years before being fired, has appealed his case to the Virginia Supreme Court. Now, I don't know what's going to happen. This is up outside of Richmond in King William County. And, of course, you had the other teacher up in Tanner Cross, up in Loudoun County in Leesburg Elementary School, who just said, look, I love my kids. I'm not going to lie to them, and I'm not going to tell a little boy that he's a girl or a little girl that she's a boy. And guess what? They were fired. Now, Tanner Cross is being reinstated. I don't know what's going to happen to this Peter Vlaming, but yeah, so I mean, that proves the point that you talk about discrimination. These are choices. I mean, it's not like you're discriminating. Not granted, they're going to say, "Wow, it's just the same." I mean, if you're a true progressive, you're going to say, "Well, this is discrimination, just like racial discrimination." No, it's not. Now, this is listen to how radical Covenant Day School. And by the way, the News and Observer went out and found a graduate from Covenant Day School, which is down in Charlotte, and he's now at UNC Chapel Hill. They found him, and sure, he was a willing participant. You know, he's now come out as gay, and he's come out and by the way, he said, "Well, I didn't find any, you know, I didn't see any he came out and said I wasn't discriminated against, but I saw some other discrimination." But what is the awful thing that Covenant Day School has in their policies? Quote, this is out of their policy manual: "God opposes the confusion of man as woman and woman as man." One clause in the school's handbook said, the handbook also says that individuals should live in accordance with their biological sex. Now, that is radical. How dare they do something and say something that mean and that radical?
Well, another situation, too, that you cannot, you know, the liberals will not let a conservative or someone that's, you know, believes in science to have a different opinion. If you don't have the exact same opinion as them, you're vilified. It's just, I mean, they're the ones that are not tolerant by a long shot.
Exactly. By the way, a couple other stories we haven't had time to really get into detail with, but that Supreme Court ruling reinstating the Trump-era Remain in Mexico policy apparently is having an effect. Apparently, they are now sending people back at the border. We'll see. When I read this, I was a little suspicious. Okay, is this really going to have some lasting effect, or is this just a tip of the hat that's going to turn around within a couple of weeks back to the wrong direction? Also, the Daily Wire is reporting election integrity is now the law in Texas. Remember all those Democrats that flew out of Texas up to Washington, D.C., and remember how they painted themselves as victims and how they were saving election fairness and equity. And, well, they are now back. The law has now passed. Governor Abbott has now signed it, and it is now the law of the land in Texas.
I guess they were having their Spartacus moment, like
oh yeah,
what's the guy from
the black senator from New York or Connecticut?
Went to Stanford. Can't remember his name now.
How quickly we forget.
Yeah, I mean, I think people found out pretty quickly he was an empty suit. That just no matter how much time you get on the MSNBC, there's no there with him.
Also, the CEO of a video game developer, he was the CEO of this company. He was down in Georgia. He tweeted his support for that Texas pro-life law, which bans abortion once cardiac activity is detected in the baby. He said, quote, "Proud of U.S. Supreme Court affirming the Texas law banning abortion for babies with a heartbeat." His name was John Gibson. He was the CEO of Tripwire Interactive. Well, guess what? He's now been canned. Yeah, unbelievable. I mean, again, you talk about discrimination, just what you just said. If you don't agree with progressives, goodbye.
And people are quickly not standing up, and suddenly there will be no voices.
Yeah. Hey, we'll do it again tomorrow at 5. We'll see you then. Have a good evening. Bye-bye, everybody.
All right, all right, all right.
We're on location at Fabric and Home Furnishings, and I'm back with my friend Lisa Pendry. And Lisa's been telling me about all the great renovations that have been going on here in the store, and I've been looking around, and it looks fantastic. Tell us what you've done here.
Well, we've knocked some walls down, we've painted, we've added some new vendors, lots of new exciting things going on. So we're making room for everybody to get what they need to transform their homes.
Looks fantastic in here. Last time we talked, you were saying that you were able to deliver a lot faster than most other furniture stores. Is that still the case?
It is. It's changed a little bit, but we're still looking at around 8 to 10 week delivery, and we do sell our floor samples right off the floor.
All right, we always say that Fabric and Home Furnishings is more than just a fabric store, so tell us what the more is all about. What when people come in, what should they expect?
Well, we love to get to know our customers. I have the best crew I've ever had, and everybody on my team is an interior designer. So we offer in-home design service, which we always have, but now they can each come out to your home after they work with you in here, figure out what's going on in your residence or your commercial property to pull it together and help you make everything beautiful.
You got great folks here.
I do.
I can tell you, I haven't gotten to know them. It's like a family when you come in here, and everybody gets along well, and you can tell that these guys and gals really know what they're talking about when it comes to interior design.
They do, and that's really what makes us different. We offer complete in-home design service. We don't charge a by-the-hour fee. It's a flat one-time fee. We work with you in here, in your home, in your business, and help pull everything together.
All right, it's more than just a fabric store. Fabric and Home Furnishings in Arlington Village. Come see this lady. She's fantastic. Fabric and Home Furnishings. Come see the renovations here in Arlington Village. And thank you for the visit today.
Thank you, Henry.
All right, you got to come see what they've done in the store here on Arlington Boulevard in Arlington Village.